Hi everyone. We are in page 24 of our note packet. So we're looking at 2.2.3 and it's graphing. So for this video, we are specifically looking at only slope-intercept form, but there's actually two ways that we're going to learn how to graph. So we're going to mention the second type of equation that you could see, but today we're just looking at slope-intercept form. So first we need to determine if our linear function is in slope-intercept form or if it's in standard form. This line is a lot smaller. Standard. And so this is what it could look like. So for slope-intercept form, this is what we are doing in this video, where we have y equals mx plus b, and we've been practicing equations like this, how to identify the slope and how to identify the y-intercept. And the other way is standard form, where the y is not by itself. So a, b, and c would all be numbers. We don't have a slope or a y-intercept that we can just look at and identify in this form, but that'll be later. So today we're focusing on this, and I do just want to label some things just to remember. So our m is our slope, and our b is our y-intercept. And our slope is always the number in front of x, so it could be in an opposite order. We have to be careful for that. So to begin graphing in slope-intercept form, we want to begin with b and plot this on our y-axis. So we begin with b, begin starts with the letter b, so that kind of makes sense. We can remember that. You will hear Ms. Johnson and I say that a lot. Begin with b. And the second part is we move with m. I'm actually going to change color. So we're going to move with our m, which is our slope. So we begin with b and move with m. When we move with m, we want to do our rise and our run. Remember, rise is our vertical movement up or down, and then run, we always go to the right. So I'm going to make a note here. Rise is up or down, depending on if it is positive or negative. So positive, you would go up, negative, you would go down. And our run is to the right. And so when we move with m, it is the easiest if our slope is written as a fraction. And we practiced this the other day. If we have a whole number, we can think of it as a fraction like this. So again, we have our rise on the top, and then we have our run on the bottom of the fraction. So we are going to walk through one example. And then if you need to see a couple more, you can watch the extra help video. So for this one, it says graph the equation y equals -3/4 x minus 6. My y is by itself, which means it is in slope-intercept form. So I want to begin with my b. And so I first have to identify what b is. My b is this -6. And so I'm going to plot that on the y-axis, because remember, this is our y-intercept. If we wrote it as a point, it would be 0, -6. And so that goes on my y-axis, which is the vertical one. -6 is down here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is my b. And I'm going to make a note of that. So this is our b right there, which is -6. Once we begin with b, we want to move with m. And when we look at our equation, our m is this -3/4 in front of our variable x. And so I do want to put the negative with the 3, so -3/4. This tells me I'm going to go down 3 because it's a -3, and I'm going to go to the right 4. So I'm going to add that in my notes in case I forget when I'm looking back at it. So I'm going to go down 3 and right 4. So from the point I already put on my graph, I'm going to go down 3, right 4. So down 1, 2, 3. and then right 4 from where I left off. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I can put a point right there. Once I have 2 points, I can draw my line. I do want to use some sort of straight edge. So if you have a ruler, that's great. I have an old tag from Target. You can also use your like school ID, actually works pretty well, but I'm just going to use this. So I want to make sure it is in the middle of the dots. And then I want to draw my line through my entire graph. Well, my card ends over there. And I want to add arrows on the ends. And so that is my line from this equation. So when we graph this equation, we get this line. And I like to double check. My slope was negative, so my line should be decreasing. And if I look at this, if I go from left to right, my line is going down, so it is decreasing. So I did it. If you need a couple more examples, please go watch the extra help video. Otherwise, you're going to practice slope-intercept form for the independent practice, which is on the back here. We talked about examples like this and like this the other day. So you'll be able to identify the slope and the y-intercept if it looks tricky.